Legit, don't get scared.
This is it now. Don't get scared. Hey there, guys. Welcome back to a brand new random Saturday night live show. Technically not the title, but you know what? I was feeling a little bit bored. I had some downtime tonight, and I figured how else to spend a boring Saturday night where it's a little bit cold and drizzly outside than with you guys. So here we are. Welcome back, and it's nice to see your beautiful faces once again. I actually can't see any of your faces, but I'm going to assume they're all beautiful and slightly majestic. But either way, guys, how are you doing? Let me know what's going on in the comments and what's going on in life. What do you guys want to talk about? I have nothing really I want to say today. I don't even know why I'm here right now, but I will tell you this. I will wear this fucking Macaulay Culkin Home Alone sweater every live show until Christmas. And then maybe I'll just wear it past Christmas. I don't know. But just having this 9-year-old boy's face on my chest just makes me feel better about who I am and what I'm doing in life. And I know that sounds completely weird and creepy, but you know what? I'm going to bite off every single one of these fingers one at a time. Hey, if the Wet Bandits can do it, so can I. Okay. Let's dive into the questions here before it gets too weird. Damn, I love the new John. Real, honest, not holding back, save movies. Well, that's my goal. And by the way, speaking of movies and speaking of real movies, I watched what I would probably say is going to be my number one movie of 2023, and I will say it's been tough for me to compile top.
I don't remember, but I went back and forth with you on Twitter/X about a month ago arguing over Killers of the Flower Moon lol. Thought it was a respectful convo, even though we disagree. Always respect your opinion, man. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Robot Belvedere Voice, and thanks for the comment and the question. I do remember battling people on Twitter/X a few months ago about Killers of the Flower Moon, and I wasn't a big fan of the movie. But that's okay. It's just a movie. Who gives a shit, right? But thanks for that. And but I do want to say this. I did watch The Iron Claw, and it's probably my favorite movie of 2023 by far. It felt like a real movie. And when it comes to movies based on wrestling, you have like 3 or 4 decent ones. I would say Iron Claw and The Wrestler starring Mickey Rourke are probably the 2 favorites of mine. And I would almost go so far as to say I think The Iron Claw opens itself up to more of a mass appeal for a movie based on wrestling than something like The Wrestler did. But man, it was good stuff. It was what I wanted to see. And Zac Efron, this is easily his best performance I've ever seen. And with all that said, Zac Efron is so jacked out of his mind in this movie. He has so much HGH and testosterone and Trenbolone, and you name everything that they give a cow to make it become a very large animal. He has that flowing through his veins, and I thought it was glorious. Zac Efron doesn't even look like a human being. He looks like a literal cyborg covered in plastic tissue resembling a human being. You know, Zac Efron in Iron Claw looked like he could play the new Terminator, and I would be okay with that. And take that as praise. I just said Zac Efron could play the new Terminator. That's shit I never thought I would say in my life, but here we are today saying it. It was a good movie. It gave you the feels, and I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. I'm a fanatic. I knew the whole backstory of the Von Erich family, and even knowing the story, watching it in a film version was still really fascinating to me. And it's one of those true life stories for years I always thought would make a great movie, and we finally got it. And even watching the movie, there's shit they had to cut out because it's almost too much. Like there's a literal character in the movie or a real life character that they cut out of the film because I think it would have just almost become repetitive seeing it. So yeah, if you haven't seen Iron Claw, definitely check it out. I think it comes out in a few more weeks. I was lucky enough to get a screener, so cannot recommend it enough. It felt like a real movie, and it's been a while since I've watched a real movie. All right, the next one's gonna come from. Oh, and by the way, that question earlier was from Connor Easterday, who we had a Twitter battle, or X. I call it Twitter. I'm sorry. I'm not calling that shit X. What is that? I don't know what that is. Either way, it's a social media platform where people just go to cry, and that's what I like to do on there. But thanks, Connor Was it Easter Day? Connor Easter Day? Well, thanks, man. Thank you for that. Popcorn Roulette says, we need your top 10 from 2023 movies so far. Morgan. My name's Morgan Freeman. I'll try to make a top 10 of the year. I don't think I have 10 movies I could genuinely put in a top 10, to be honest with you. A top 5 would be possible, but really when it comes to a top 10, some years I always have like 3 movies I'm putting in there to fluff it up. Just because it's like, these are okay movies. I would say they're the better movies of the year. But for me, when I say top 10, it's not just the top 10 movies of the year that I could stand. I want to put a legitimate top 10 in there that I deem I would go back and revisit and watch and recommend. Sometimes when I make a top 10, there might be 1 or 2 in there. Technically speaking, yeah, they were in my top 10 of the year, but they're probably movies I would never go back and rewatch again. So this year, I think I might just do my favorite movies of 2023. Maybe I'll do that. The top 10s, I don't know. But top 10 just sounds better, doesn't it? Maybe I'll just call it top 10 and just mention 4 movies. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think a top 10 worst movies of the year is always easy. That's almost too easy some years. But then again, hey, it's hard for me to say Iron Claw is my favorite movie of the year because we haven't seen the new Aquaman movie yet. Aquaman 2. The movie no one gives a shit about. The trailers for that just look really bad, don't they? They just... Who is this movie made for? And I love that they're marketing Aquaman 2 now. The only thing they have to say in marketing, they don't tell you about the story. They don't say shit about who's in the movie. All they say now is, it's in 3D. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm going to go watch an aquarium movie in 3D. That's what I'm going to go see. All right. I was going to make a really good Amber Heard joke, but I'm not going to. I'll save that one for another time. Night King 01. How's it going, buddy? I'm going to get to your question in just a minute. But first, Smell Mundo says, Johnny, my lad, long time no see, my buddy. Jor-El's Alexandria was just talking very highly of your lady. I heard you two go way back in this YouTube game. Can I give old Joe what the fuck are we who the fuck is old Joe Jorls? Who is this? A shout out. Glad to have you back, brother. Old Jorlels? What am I saying that right? I think I just had a stroke. Well, thank you, Smellmundo. Luke O'Neill says, "Hi, John. Will you be watching Rebel Moon? Maybe, maybe not. I just don't care. I don't care. It's just Star Wars mumbo jumbo put into a blender for easy mass consumption at this point. It just feels so dull and dry, and it just feels like everyone's standing in front of a rear projection screen at this point. And there's nothing wrong with that technology. I highly support it. But it just feels like they're getting lazier with every new installment of a new Star Wars series. But I'm not opposed to checking it out. I'm just hoping they add a little grit to this shit. Throw a little dirt on someone. I'm so tired of watching Star Wars Disney Plus series where it literally just looks like someone came out of wardrobe. Their clothes are so fresh and clean, you can still smell the fabric softener on them, and you can almost see the paint trickling down their face where the prosthetics are glued on. It just doesn't feel lived in like Star Wars is supposed to feel. It feels too clean and sterile. It feels very Disney-fied, and I don't like it. Matter of fact, just thinking about it makes me want to vomit right here on my desk. But I'll probably check it out. I just want some grit. That's all I'm saying. Just take a little grit. Take the wardrobe that they're going to wear and rub it on the floor a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little something. That's all I'm saying. Night King 01. John, finally, after all these years, we are getting True Lies and The Abyss on 4K. Indeed, we are. I feel like I mention that every live stream, but yes, we are. Apparently, a lot of the rights issues have been fixed, and they're finally being resolved, and The Abyss supposedly looks incredible on 4K this March, baby. Yeah, you know, I wish I could say I love The Abyss as much as a lot of people do, and I like it. I appreciate it. I think it's a really fascinating story. But I've never been like a hardcore fan of the movie The Abyss. Am I the only one? It's not that I think it's bad by any means. I enjoy the movie. I just never have latched onto it. When it comes to James Cameron's filmography, I've always been more of a Terminator guy, or True Lies, or Titanic. And then I guess all we have beyond that is really Avatar, or Piranha 2, if you want to technically count that piece of shit. But what I do want to talk about, speaking of new movies that have come to 4K and movies that I love, we got to talk about this. And technically, speaking of James Cameron, he did produce this movie, Point Break. I got this in the mail the other day from Best Buy. It's the Steelbook. Just look at this. Oh, God. You know what? Let's take it out of the plastic right now together and let it breathe. Now, Point Break is probably in my top 5 movies of all time. I think it goes beyond the action genre. I love the dynamic relationship between Johnny Utah and Bodie in this film, played by Patrick Swayze. Just, I like that they almost have this weird brotherhood and this understanding, even though they're on two sides of the spectrum, and it's glorious stuff. So here it is. I'm going to open it up. Oh, it smells like Patrick Swayze's armpits, and I love it. And rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. But yeah, I have not watched this, obviously, because I just opened it up. I don't know if the picture quality is phenomenal. I'm hoping it is. As long as it's better than the Blu-ray back there, I will be content and happy. But I can't wait to check this out on Blu-ray. And man, it's got 2 discs in here. So we got the 4K. Is this just a Blu-ray? What is this? Yeah, it just comes with the 4K and the Blu-ray. All right. But check out the inside of that. You got the Mustafa right there. Actually, no. Yeah, you got the Mustafa. I thought that was Johnny Utah. But I love it, man. I love it. It's got the ex-presidents on it. That's what a steelbook should look like. So, because it was never about the system, man. It was about us. Well, anyway, I already fucked up the line. Let's just go to the next question. Are you guys going to get Point Break on 4K? Even if it looks like crap, I would have still bought it. It's the principle that counts nowadays. Oh, and speaking of 4K movies, I also got this in the mail, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem Into the Spider-Verse animation style movie. And I liked this. I think this is a movie I could probably watch on a rainy day again. I think it was a little babyfied. You know, I think this was clearly made for children, and it's an animated Ninja Turtles movie, and that's okay. That's understandable. But just a little more. I'm hoping in the next installment of this franchise, maybe they aim for like a teenage demographic just slightly more. But I did like how this started out. I don't think this is exactly what I wanted to see with a Ninja Turtles movie. But hey, I'll take what I can get. And if for anything else, I do honestly think this is better than the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle movies that we got a couple years ago. Those were just regurgitated ooze. So yeah, did you guys like that movie? And also, last but certainly not least, I already have this on 4K. I got Stand By Me, the Steelbook, on 4K. This was actually mailed to me. So one of my favorite movies of all time as well. So, yeah. What'd you guys pick up this week? Flixta's Erectus thoughts on Furiosa. I talked about this on the last live show. I think the trailer looks good. I don't think the trailer looks great. But does that subdue any of my anticipation for the movie? No. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's got a great cast. I trust the director of the film. I think he will make the movie that he wants to make with the vision that he has, or else he wouldn't be doing it. So for anything else, I trust the director of the film. Now, if you want my nitpicky asshole complaints with some negativity sprinkled on top, I can give it to you. My biggest issues with the trailer was it just looked like everyone was standing in front of a green screen. A little bit too much so. And I'm sure they have practical effects. And I think that was one of the best things about Mad Max Fury Road was the practicality and the effects. They didn't just put blatant CG in front of your face. But the trailer, yeah, it just looked like people were standing in front of a green screen. And maybe that was maybe that had to do with some of the limitations or the time frame to make the movie. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe COVID played a part in that. I don't know if they were shooting any of the principal photography of this movie in 2020. But yeah, it just looked like a little green screeny more so than Fury Road did. But hey, who knows? The movie's what's it come out next summer, so we have time. All right, the next one comes from William, who says, what is the most nostalgic video of yours when you look back? Also, Avatar 1 and 2. I really enjoy both, but the sequel's better in my opinion. You know what? So first of all, we'll talk about Avatar in just a second. If I had to look back at one of my videos as one of the most nostalgic videos, there's a few flick trips that come to mind that I thought were pretty fun and zany and weird, and I felt like sometimes I captured... I'll put it like this. There were some days I just had my video camera and I was driving around in my car in my boring town, and I felt like sometimes I would capture a golden moment. And I felt so lucky to have captured that, or something funny perfectly just happened. Another one of my videos I like when I go back are some of the movie night videos. Like how to watch a movie, I think is like a good example of who I was and what I was doing in like 2013. I think that was a good video that kind of defined who I was. So those are a couple. The next one, and speaking of Avatar 1 and 2, you know what? I thought I liked the sequel more than I did the original. And would I probably prefer to go back and rewatch the sequel over the original at this point? I think technically speaking I would, because I've seen the original so many times. But I do not think the sequel overall, narratively speaking, or script-wise, is a better movie than the first. I really don't. I think Avatar 2 sort of feels like Avatar 1.5. It's almost slightly underwhelming when you really think about where that starts and where it ends, as far as like a movie goes, especially when you're talking about Avatar, right? We're talking about the spectacle in space. We're talking about 9-foot-tall blue fucking aliens who make love with tails. That's what we're talking about. So when your movie culminates and climaxes on what I would say is like a small hovercraft in the ocean, I don't know. It just kind of felt like, that's where we're going to end off here. A battle on a boat with the same guy you already fought in the first movie. Okay. And not to say it wasn't very well done. I feel like when you compare it to the first one, where literally thousands of people are flying on dragons and there's helicopters shooting missiles at a giant tree, and then it culminates with a mech suit fight. I just feel like the second one was a little bit underwhelming in comparison. But don't get me wrong, I enjoy watching, a little boy swim around with a whale and make friends with it, so yeah, but I think technically speaking, I think the first Avatar is a better movie. So that's where I'm at with Avatar. All right, let's go to the next one here. James Dosher says, what's up, John? How's it going tonight? Well, hey, James, how's it going? And thanks for being a glorious, magical, and mystical member for 25 months. Thank you for that, my good sir. It's going, man. A busy day. I was looking at wedding venues. It's kind of weird. It just feels like we're looking at wedding venues and it's kind of hard to find one. And I'm trying to get something that's a little bit quirky and zany and fun and cozy, and I don't know. So that's what we did today. And then now I'm here talking to you guys, drinking a grape soda. That's where I'm at in life, wearing a Home Alone sweater. Life is good, I would say. No complaints. All right. You guys are killing it with the super chats, by the way. Thanks. Oh, yeah. Someone said, as far as your most nostalgic videos go, it's definitely Jaws in my pool. Yeah, that's probably one of my most viewed videos, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like the less you try on YouTube, the better the view count is. So if you just want 2.1 million views, take a little plastic toy shark that you bought at Toys R Us, jump in your swimming pool when your parents aren't home, and then talk about it for 5 minutes. And you'll just get 2 million views. It doesn't make any sense. No sense whatsoever. But I'm proud of it. It's such an accomplishment. And I still have that toy shark. Don't ask questions. All right, the next one comes from Terrence Hanna, who says, are you going to buy Titanic 4K? I already own that shit. It's back there on the shelf. Yeah, so I have it. It's back there. Luke O'Neill says, will you watch Masters of the Air? What is Masters of the Air? Let's check out Masters of the Air. Oh, Barry Cohagen is in it. Let's see. It's on Apple TV plus HBO. Oh, during World War II, airmen risked their lives with the 100th Bomb Group. Okay, so it's a WW2 show. Okay. I dig it. Austin Butler's in it. Okay. I'm sure Austin Butler will give his Elvis impression in the whole movie. He'll talk with like a southern little twang. Yeah, gosh, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do up there, boys. Like, just his little made-up lisp that he carries around because it makes him feel like a real actor. Yeah, I'll probably check it out. It looks good. I mean, if it's going to be on HBO and Apple TV, I'm sure it has a nice, juicy budget. Yeah, I'll check it out. When's this air? January 26th. Okay. I will check that out. I was gonna watch Wonka this weekend, and I just, you know what I did? I decided I had better things to do with my life. So, all right, the next one comes from Rafa Zapian, who says, "What's the most expensive thing you buy on Amazon and the cheapest?" Not one space in that sentence. Not one space. Just every letter next to each other on that one. Mostly, I don't know. I think I bought a computer on Amazon. The cheapest thing I bought on there was probably, I don't know. I don't know. Some staples or something. I don't know. I bought some really weird, cheap stuff on Amazon. Stuff I probably could just go to Walmart and buy, but I was too lazy to leave the house. But just recently on Amazon, I bought a black Christmas tree, and I bought a whole bunch of movie ornaments. And the reason I bought a black Christmas tree was never mind. There's some jokes I hold back on. I put it in my movie theater room because I thought a black, sleek Christmas tree would just make sense in there, and I put a whole bunch of Christmas movie themed Christmas ornaments on it, and we put popcorn around it. And I'll show it. Let me just whip this out real quick. Don't get weird. I'll put a picture on where do people put pictures nowadays? Instagram or something? Yeah. But on top of it, on top of my Christmas tree this year, I don't have some lame ass star or some angel. No. Nah. I have Darth fucking Vader on top of my Christmas tree, okay? Because if you're going to have a black Christmas tree, Darth Vader should be at the top of it. So, yeah, you probably can't see it, but I'll just... Yeah, that's my movie. See Darth Vader up there? His lightsaber lights up and all that fun stuff? No, it's not that I'm not a fan of Austin Butler, but I will make fun of his pretentious accent that he's carrying around in Hollywood to make himself seem like a deep actor. I'm so deep. I always talk like this when I get into my roles. It's kind of like Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp at one point just talked like a normal guy. Now he talks like he has 14 different accents combined, and he's all deep and weird because he's been in Hollywood way too long. But so that's what happens to actors. They lose all sense of reality, and they just start making up who they are to fit in. I don't know. But yeah. I think he's a great actor. Z White says, thoughts on them people. What a joke, am I right? I don't do whatever you want in life. That's the point I'm at. You know, if I had the means and the ability, I would just build myself a castle on an island with 80-foot tall walls and armed guards that I pay with cryptocurrency to keep me safe and everyone out. Okay? That's where I would be at in life, but I do not have the means to do such things. Is society scary at this point? Absolutely. Does logic fail to apply to social occasions? Yes, it does. Do I like to get on what they call X nowadays and sometimes just put an opinion out there because I know exactly what the response is going to be for my own weird entertainment? Yes, I do that. But call me a him, he, she, we. I don't care what you call me at this point in life. Ryman 6000 says, in my opinion, Rogue One is the most enjoyable Disney Star Wars movie. I would say it's the one that feels most like a real movie. I would say it's the one that's not just placating to an audience. But even with all that said, Rogue One makes so many mistakes to where I question the screenwriter of the movie. Just some of the characters in that movie are stupid. Like the pilot who just likes to say, "I'm the pilot." You had, what's his name? Lazy Eye. Oh my God. What is his name? Forrest Whitaker, right? Just his character felt weird and out of place. Just a handful of characters in that movie, I felt like they were not executed as well as they could be. And I thought they could have done a little bit more with them. Like, Jin Urso's character was just there. You have Andor himself, which I thought was a really bland guy, and then they gave him his own spin-off series, and I go, oh, he was the most generic guy in Rogue One. Now he has his own series. This guy with no charisma. And I'm sure people like his character. I think if they just gave him a little more charisma, it would have helped, you know. But I'll tell you the best thing about Rogue One, and I think most of us can probably agree, is the reshoots. The Darth Vader 97-second scene at the end of that movie. If only they could have injected some of that vitality into the rest of Rogue One. Just give us some brutality. We just want to see Darth Vader doing Darth Vader shit. Put him in a bath. Let me watch him just take a bath for an hour and a half. Okay, that's all I want to see. But that ending sequence of Darth Vader where they just tacked it on, that's what made that movie for me. And I just thought to myself, if you just had another 15 minutes of something like this in your movie, holy shit. And it blows me away. They just don't understand that audiences want that. And they just refuse to give it to you. It's odd to me. Thoughts on the Iron Claw? I talked about that 20 minutes ago. Just scroll back on the slider under the video, man. It's all down there. I love the movie, though. Iron Claw is probably my number one movie of the year. All right. It's been a long time since I watched Flickster, and John is just as fun as I remember. Is this fun to you? Is this enjoyment? To me, I'm just rambling off angrily. I will say this. This is cheaper than therapy, and I think you guys understand me more so. So thank you for that. Dope shirt, John, best Christmas movie. I would arguably say Home Alone is the best Christmas movie, but I'll tell you what we're going to do. We are going to have a Hook movie night, possibly tomorrow. My fiance has never seen Hook. Don't ask how, don't ask why, but you know what? I'm okay with that because I am going to show her what a fantastical Neverland film is like. You rude crew bag of pre-food chew dude. She doesn't comprehend how fantastical that movie is going to be. I try to explain to her there's something truly fascinating about watching Robin Williams, who's 45 years old in that movie, who has more hair on his knuckles, wearing green tights, flying around with children. I don't even remember where I was going with that. But there's something just so magical about that. And I'm looking forward to it. Okay, the next one comes from George, who says, John, have you seen Deadpool 3 leaks? I saw all the pictures of Hugh Jackman dressed like Wolverine on a beach with Deadpool. I did see that. Luca O'Neill says, will you watch Masters of the Air? Oh, we answered that. Or am I going backwards in questions? Okay, I already answered that. The next one comes from Joseph Knowles, who says, hey, John, hope you're doing well. Thoughts on 2023? Well, thanks, Joseph. How's it going, buddy? And who's been a member for 24 months. Thoughts on 2023? Let's see. A lot has happened this year. I would say some of the most major life changes for me have happened this year. And I think it's finally because I've found a place I can relax and settle down. And, you know, I kind of let YouTube take a back seat. I tried the 9-to-5 thing. I'm still doing the 9-to-5 thing. Is it killing my spirit inside? Yes. Does it make me resent society more than I already did? Absolutely. But you know what? I'm going to stick with it for a little bit longer. But I am truly missing YouTube. And I think I just needed the slight getaway. So yeah, I did the 9-to-5 thing. I got engaged. And then at some point next year, I'll get married, which is kind of a weird thing to say, especially when you're a guy wearing a Macaulay Culkin sweater and no pants. So yeah, it's a weird time in life. A lot of big changes. But it's good. It's like that next chapter in life. You know it's coming. You got to flip the page, and once you flip the page, you're like, okay, let's just enjoy reading the next few chapters. So that's where I'm at. Mackenzie Logan says, "Gay bye says meow meow Johnny boy." Is it Gabby or Gaby? I don't know. Meow. Joe Turner says, "Hey mate, what's a movie with a bad reputation that you enjoy? I really like The Hangover Part 2, for example." Joel Turner, what I want you to do is punish yourself right now for all of your sins that you've committed against humanity. I want you to take your hand out. Preferably have a limp wrist. That's my favorite. Out, limp, like this, and smack it. Okay? You have to do that at least once for saying that you like The Hangover 2. But that's okay. I get it. There's a lot of shitty movies I quite enjoy myself. The Hangover 2, I think when all the tranny dicks started running out into the screen, I thought to myself, I'm all about crude, weird humor, but this is just, I can't do this. Like, it's fascinating to look at, don't get me wrong, but I don't find it funny. Does that make any sense? So, yeah, The Hangover 2, not for me. But what I will say is I like some junky movies. Did you say sequel or just a movie with a bad... Oh, I like Van Helsing. I think Van Helsing is everything wrong with a big blockbuster movie. By definition, it is everything you should not do with a $90 million or $110 million budget. You don't make movies like Van Helsing. There's no artistic merit there. That is a soulless piece of shit. But I quite enjoy watching it. I don't know why. It's a big, junky blockbuster movie. And I enjoy it. So Van Helsing is my go-to. I've always said Waterworld is sort of like my guilty pleasure big budget movie, but I think people could understand the enjoyment aspect of Waterworld. Okay, it's kind of like Mad Max on the ocean. I get it. But when you talk about Van Helsing, there's like no real redeeming qualities in that piece of trash. But I enjoy that piece of trash. So there's that. Plus Hugh Jackman turns into a big shitty CGI werewolf at the end of the movie. And then, I know it's been a while since anyone's probably ever seen Van Helsing, but there's a scene with the guy who plays Count Dracula. And by the way, if Nicolas Cage could have played the role of Count Dracula in Van Helsing, I think it would have truly been a success. But there's a scene where Count Dracula, he gets some blood on him, and he goes, "Oh!" I love it, man. It's almost like he was doing a John Travolta impression. It's really weird shit. I love it. William says, "Your most nostalgic video for you is Night of the Chicken Sandwich. Absolute gold." You are right. I do vividly remember making that video. And if you get really bored on a rainy night and you want to watch me ride a bicycle, and then talk to the camera, and then go to Kroger's at 2 o'clock in the morning and buy a $1 chicken sandwich, well, that's what happens in that video. And I made a video about that. The Night of the Chicken Sandwich. It just... see, I could never come up with that again. I could never come up with something as creative as that again. My juices have dried up, damn it. Night of the Chicken Sandwich. My grandkids will be watching that movie one day. Or that video. That movie, yeah. No, it's a 7-minute video. All right, the next one comes from the Toon Mav. Best movies to watch after a gummy. P.S. Congrats on the engagement, mate. Well, thanks, the Toon Mav. You know, movies I like to watch when I'm expanding my mind are... There's two different options you can have, right? For me, when I expand my mind and take hallucinogenics, I like to watch survival movies because they literally... They evoke this real emotion out of me where I put myself in the situation. And I'll give you an example. I watched 127 Hours a few months ago, and I've seen the movie once or twice. But something about watching it this time, or maybe it's me, I'm getting older, and I can understand my own mortality a little bit more. or maybe it's over the last year I've gotten into a couple accidents where I almost lost my eye. I almost cut my finger off, for example. And when he was stuck down in that canyon and his arm was wedged between a boulder and a hard place, and that sequence where, spoilers, he's sawing his arm off and you can hear like this middle grinding sound effect that they put on top of it. Something about that just like went to the core of my being and ripped out my soul. And so sometimes I watch movies like that when I want to feel real pain. But sometimes I'll watch like a fun fantasy movie and it really just takes me to a happy place. So if you want, like Forrest Gump, for example, take a gummy and go watch Forrest Gump. Okay? Now, that's just hypothetically speaking. Don't really do that, guys. But yeah, if you want to take drugs, go watch Forrest Gump. I highly recommend that movie because at one point in my life, I put Forrest Gump as my number one movie of all time. And you know what? After rewatching it multiple times over the last year, I will stand by that opinion. And here's why. Forrest Gump has everything that you would ever want throughout a multitude of movies, jam-packed in a 2-hour and 20-minute runtime of perfection. It's nearly perfect. The drama, the comedy, everything is so balanced, and every scene in that film is so memorable. But when I was watching it the last few times, it was just like I felt like I was there with Forrest Gump playing ping pong or in Vietnam. I have never been so immersed into the movie as I have been with what you're calling, what'd you say? Gummies? Yeah. So try Forrest Gump, man. Okay, Night King 01 says, I got Barry Lyndon the other day. The main actor, Ryan O'Neal, just passed away yesterday. Also, I want to see his other film, The Driver, get released on Blu-ray or 4K specifically for you because I want you to see the movie Drive straight up ripped off. Laugh out loud. That's fine. I will watch a rip-off movie because sometimes it just makes you appreciate those aspects about the better version of that movie that you really love. So I'll definitely check it out, man. I hope it gets a 4K release. That'd be cool to watch it. But yeah, I want to see Driver. I haven't seen it. Yeah, you're saying Drive straight up ripped off Driver. Yes, I got it. Okay, maybe I said that backwards. But yeah, you told me about that before, and I've been meaning to watch it. Let me add it to my list. Hang on. I got a Batman notebook right here, and I'm gonna add it to the list. I'll add it to the list. Driver. Okay. I'll check it out. Jay Forever King says, thoughts on The Abyss and True Lies coming to Blu-ray. We talked about that earlier. Looking forward to it. More so probably looking forward to True Lies on Blu-ray. And I mentioned earlier, I like The Abyss. I just don't love The Abyss. By the way, in The Abyss, did you guys ever... So, in The Abyss, there's something I wanted to talk about with you guys earlier, and I forgot about it. But I think it's in the director's cut of The Abyss. The scene where the tidal wave is coming towards the beach. When you look at everyone on the beach, if you look down on the left-hand part of the frame on the beach, there's a guy that's running, and some other guy runs up behind him and pulls his pants down, and his bare ass is on camera for like 1 second. And then he pulls his pants up and keeps running. Now, I find that highly enjoyable, and I'll tell you why. Clearly, somebody just did that because they were screwing around on the movie set and they're extras and they didn't care. But imagine a real-life situation where a 2,000-foot tsunami is about to collide with the beach that you're on, and you just pull your friend's pants down as you're running away. I mean, hey, if you're going to die, why not have a good laugh? You know. So anyway, if you ever get a chance, definitely check that out. I'm hoping to see it on 4K very soon. The guy C-Man says, I know what you're doing there, and that's okay. Thoughts on Madame Web trailer? I thought it was just the most mediocre junk I've ever seen slapped out from Sony. But then again, is that really anything new? Someone said, and we thought Morbius was the worst they could do. Well, here we go. I don't know what Sony's doing. I don't know if this is a good idea. And I think I said on my last live show, Madame Web doesn't really need her own solo movie. Now, if Sony had their own streaming service and they wanted to make a made for streaming service movie and try to capitalize on the comic book phenomenon and get a few Spider-Man fans to watch the movie, I get it. But to make a theatrical release of Madame Web, and the movie itself doesn't look very good. It looks like I don't know what it is with Sony. All of their comic book movies, for the most part, like with Morbius or Kraven the Hunter or Madame Web, and they had something else that came out, they just look like movies from 1999 to 2002. Like, I'm expecting like Evanescence to have like a part of be on the soundtrack for the movie or something. Like, they all look like Daredevil starring Ben Affleck quality. So I don't know what they're doing. I think Madame Web should be like a streaming series maybe. And only because you don't want to like waste a character like Spider-Man on a streaming series. So you get one of the fourth great characters from the Spider-Man universe. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. And then honestly, I watched the trailer once when it came out and I vaguely remember it. Matthew D says, "Hey John, have you seen the Christmas movie Violent Night? If so, what are your thoughts?" I have not watched Violent Night. And I have this weird pet peeve. I don't like watching Christmas movies starring like an action hero dressed like Santa Claus. I can't really buy into that being a real movie because it's not going to be a great Christmas movie and it's not going to be a great action movie because they're trying to combine these two things and it just doesn't quite work out. And the only time that really does work out when you want to make an action movie based around Christmas, and I think we all know the answer to this, is Die Hard, which isn't trying to be this kooky Christmas movie, right? It's not like John McClane is dressed like Santa Claus in the fucking movie. So that's why it works. Just a weird pet peeve of mine. I don't like when they try to cross the genres too much. Am I the only one? They're making a Violent Night too. Well, I'm sure they are. I mean, they're going to capitalize on some people watching it. So I get why they would do that. Old Eddie says, "Your videos make me so happy, John. Keep making them." Well, thanks, Old Eddie. Thanks for that, man. You watching my videos makes me happy. When I go to bed at night, it puts a small little smile on my face and a warm sensation tingles over my body. And then I lay there in the fetal position and you guys are like a cocoon of love that make me dream off into Neverland. So thank you for that. I mean everything I just said. All right, the next one comes from Mr. CH, who says, "Hey, John. Found an idea for a movie on Twitter the other day where the plot is a stereotypical 80s/90s bully gets time travel to a modern woke 2023 school where his bullying techniques are somewhat outdated. Thoughts?" You know what? I feel like everything you just said, if you gave me one day, I feel like I could write that movie. I really do. I've never written a screenplay. But for some odd reason, I feel like I could write that one very passionately speaking. I think I could make that happen. I really do. Also, speaking of the movie you just mentioned, it kind of reminds me of the one scene in 21 Jump Street, the new one with Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. Not very new. It actually came out 11 years ago, which is weird to say. But there's that scene where they're walking into the high school for the first time. And Channing Tatum is what you would consider like a really popular, cool jock guy. And the high school he's walking into now, he's like sort of a loser for all the things that he used to like. So yeah, I could see that being translated into an actual movie. Just take Biff Tannen from the 1950s and throw him into like a high school nowadays. And give him a Twitter X account. And let's see how quick he gets canceled. Can you even call people butthead anymore, or is that like offensive? I don't know. I really don't know. Claudia Rogan says, "Imagine you watch Hook tomorrow and your fiance hates it." I don't think she will. I know her taste in movies, and even if she hates it, she'll lie through her teeth to me and say and profess her love for it. No, I think she'll enjoy it. Full disclosure, I don't get the love for that movie. I think it kind of sucks. Well, that's okay. That's what separates us from truly connecting, spiritually speaking. If you don't like Hook, that's okay, but I just don't feel like we'll ever really bond as people if you don't appreciate Hook. They just don't make movies like that. The thing about Hook that I really love is there are so many things in there like a child would love. Like when they go off to Neverland and the Lost Boys hideout. Like I think every kid would love that. But the thing that Hook does that a lot of modern day children's movies wouldn't necessarily do is they have this darker tone to them. Like the first 20 minutes of Hook is a depressed guy who doesn't give a shit about his family. He barely wants to go visit his adoptive older sister family or whatever in London. And his kids are like so distant from him. And there's like a dark tone to that. And a modern day movie would never include all of that. They would just jump into they would just jump into him singing in Neverland. But yeah, they push the limits in Hook a little bit, and I quite enjoy it. Plus, they actually there's something, what the thing about Hook is? Everyone has charisma, right? Like Robin Williams elevates that character. Captain Hook himself, just, you couldn't, who could you cast to do a better Captain Hook? No one. I want a cookie. I want a party. Me. I. Gotta save Maggie. Gotta save Jack. Hook is back. My favorite, and me and my friends, we love Hook. We always go to the scene, save me, Daddy. It's fucking great. How can you not like Hook? Put him in the boo box. Joe Mitchell says, do you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie? I think technically speaking, I just consider it a great action movie. But oddly enough, an action movie that you prefer to watch around Christmas time. So there you go. Rudy A says, hey, John, hope you're doing great. You play games? I do play games. Typically, I play Rocket League. Am I a 2-time tournament champion, platinum? Yes, I am. Not to pat myself on the back too hard, but I will. But what I do nowadays on Rocket League is I give myself 20 minutes to play the game. And I usually end up, if I go any longer than that, I end up breaking my controller. So, yeah. I was almost going to download the new Call of Duty Warzone. And then I thought to myself, I just don't care. Claudia Rogajon says, I like the movie Balls of Fury, Don't Judge Me. That's a pretty bad movie. But my favorite scene in that is where he licks the ball. He goes, tastes good. I like that. And by the way, a quick fun fact about me is I like to play ping pong quite a bit. Claudia Rogajon says, the first Hangover wasn't that funny anyway. I never found that first Hangover movie that funny. And also, what's his name? Is it Ed Helms? Something about actor Ed Helms. I don't think he's funny at all. I feel like he's a guy trying way too hard to be funny. And everything with his character, like in The Office or in The Hangover, I just can't laugh at him. Everyone else in the movie's funny. Ed Helms is not. William says, John Foreskin, could you tell us a story you've never told on camera? Let me think of a story I've never told on camera before. Ooh, I had a really good one just cross my mind, but if I mention that, the person that's in the story might get canceled, so I don't know if I can mention that. Okay, here's a story. I remember in 2014, we were invited out to Los Angeles, and there was a new series coming out starring Sean Bean. By the way, I'm rewatching Game of Thrones for the 4th time. Still love it. And Sean Bean was in this new series called Legends. Now, was the show that good? Not really. I could see it was going to get canceled after the first season, but I wanted to meet Sean Bean. And also, I was set up to do some interviews with the other actors, like in the show. Ali Larter was in the series, And actor Morris Chestnut was also in the series. And if you don't know who Morris Chestnut is, he played Ricky in Boys in the Hood. Ricky! So anyway, I made a fool of myself in the interview, and I'll never release it. I recorded the interview, and I did not get prepared for his interview whatsoever. I was prepared for Ali Larder and Sean Bean. I had a whole bunch of questions, and those went pretty good. But with the Morris Chestnut one, man, I was like, I wasn't even sure who he was in the show. And I had no questions lined up for him. And I asked him, I was like, hey, and I got him confused because he's in one of the Kick-Ass movies, but he wasn't in the first movie, I believe. He was only in the second movie. And I completely made a jackass out of myself and assumed he was in the first movie, and he didn't correct me. And I also said something else. I want to say, like, I got like his character's name wrong or so. I don't know. And then the night before, I was talking to Stuckman, and I was like, dude, Morris Chestnut, what am I going to ask this guy? I don't know. And he's like, ask him if he likes chestnuts. And that always stuck with me. And I probably should have, because that would have been a better question than anything I asked him. So I think Morris Chestnut thought I was a complete dumbass. And that's okay. I can live with that. But Sean Bean, I got to meet Sean Bean that day. And no, he did not die in my arms like I was hoping he would. Daniel Martin says, Merry Christmas, Johnny, you filthy animal. I hope you have a great holiday season. Your channel has been comfort food for me for so long. Steady hands, steady hands. Well, thanks for that, Daniel. And that means a lot, man. You know, that's... when you give me a compliment like that, that means a lot to me, because I think that's a legitimate, real compliment, because I feel the same. There's certain channels on YouTube, when I watch them, I'm like comfort food. I can relax. I'm safe now. They're going to give me what I thought they would. So thank you for that. That's high praise, Daniel. Tyler Evans says, top 3 4K movies that look beautiful and top 3 ugliest 4K movies. Well, shit, my biggest letdown when it comes to 4K movies, and if you've been watching my channel now, you might know the answer to this. I think Terminator 2 Judgment Day on 4K is an abomination against humanity, and I would like to have a deep dive discussion with James Cameron about why he put this atrocity on 4K. How could you bastardize what I would consider the best action movie ever made and make it this sterile, cold, generic blue mess where you took out all the grain and you DNR'd the skin tones to everyone, so not only does Arnold look like a cybernetic organism with a fake skin tissue covering the adamantium skeleton or whatever the fuck it is, now everyone else looks like they're made out of plastic. It just took all the enjoyment and everything great about an early 90s action movie right out of it and tried to make it look like a digital mess of a modern day action movie that you'd shit out on Netflix starring Ryan Reynolds, and the budget would be $390 million and no one would talk about it and no one would give a shit about it. And hell, maybe Dwayne The Rock Johnson's in the movie too, because why the hell not? I'm talking to you, Red Notice, you piece of shit. But anyway, I would say that's my least favorite 4K movie. The other one I would say is I just bought Heat. That made me tired. I just bought Heat on 4K for Black Friday, and it was like $7, you know, and everyone's saying the transfer of that's way too dark. So I think that might be another letdown. But there's a lot of kind of mediocre 4K movies, but you know what? I would say a few, and Forrest Gump doesn't look very good on 4K. It's a little too waxy looking. So there's been quite a few letdowns when it comes to 4K, but I would say one of my favorites on 4K is maybe Taxi Driver. I think it looks pretty good. Trying to think of something else. I have a lot of favorite 4K movies, and I just cannot think of them right now off the top of my head. I'm hoping Point Break looks good on 4K. Do you guys know how this looks on 4K? Okay, Point Break looks awesome on 4K. Well, thanks, GFE, host man. Good to know, man. Good to know. Oh, and you know, another movie I think that looks great on 4K is obviously maybe Mad Max Fury Road. Even though technically speaking, they shot the movie in 2K, but it looks damn good on 4K. So, you know, that's another recommendation I would have. But if you want like a filmic movie with some grain, I think Taxi Driver looks so good on 4K. Matthew D says, John, have you seen Black Phone starring Ethan Hawke? Pretty good movie. I did. I put it in my top movies of the year. So go watch that video if you get bored from last year. It's in my top movies of 2022. Yeah, it's in there. I enjoyed it. I liked a lot of things about it. I don't think they really ever explained how the Black Phone works, and that's okay. But I did like that it had some like Buffalo Bill vibes to it. You know, keeping people locked down in your basement at creepy shit. I liked that quite a bit. William Main says, thoughts on the original Fright Night and Silver Bullet. Fright Night? Fright Night's good. Didn't that get a 4K release, or am I making that up? Is Fright Night on 4K? Yeah, I think Fright Night's a fun movie. I mean, every time I watched it as a kid, I was hoping... I always thought like the kids' chemistry in the movie wasn't what I wanted, even watching it as a kid. Does that make... Like, I know that's hard to explain right now. The chemistry that you see between the characters in like Stranger Things, for example, I was hoping like Fright Night would have that same chemistry, and it just doesn't. Like the Lost Boys, you get a little bit of that chemistry. But in Fright Night, I just like the kids in that movie, it was hard to like latch onto their friendships. But that was my only complaint to the movie, even when I was a kid watching it. But I generally like it. It's a lot of fun. Silver Bullet? I don't think I've seen Silver Bullet. DJ Run says, can you do a Morgan Freeman impression of your current boss? It's hard to... It actually... A Nick Cage impression would be better. He's a little nasally. No, we can't do that. No. He says no a lot. No matter what you say, he just says no. I could eat a peach for hours. I don't know. David Aguirre says, gonna see Die Hard in theaters right now, and I'm super excited. John, I love you, by the way. Keep going, you beautiful boy. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that, sir. Have fun at Die Hard, man. Eat some popcorn. Have a good time. James Nichols says, are you excited for Furiosa? I am excited for it. I really am. I would say it's one of my more anticipated movies of the year. I'm just hoping it's good. I have faith in it. I think it'll be good. William says, Johnny Gooch Hair, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? I think Breaking Bad is the better show. I really do. But man, I think Better Call Saul was better than it needed to be almost. I mean, especially when you get towards some of the later seasons in Better Call Saul. I quite enjoyed it. And everything with Saul Goodman's great. I love how he's a sleazy lawyer, but like a guy that has a slight heart of gold that you can relate to. I love characters like Saul Goodman. I really do. Like if I had to hire an attorney, I would hire Saul Goodman any day of the week. Absolutely. But everything outside of just his character, some of the subplots dealing with the drug cartels in Mexico and things like that, I thought those are really well done as well. So I would lean towards Breaking Bad being the better show, but when it comes, if you wanted my opinion on what is maybe arguably the best spin-off series, I think Better Call Saul would definitely be #1 contender. And plus it lasted multiple seasons and every season was pretty good. So, but I will say this might sound a bit morbid. I was so happy when his brother died. I was like, oh, he's dead. Thank God. So. The next one comes from Eric Boshin, who says, hey, John, hey, John, can you show us your French flipper trick? There it is, man. I'll show my French flipper trick. Also, Blackbird is the seedy psychological serial killer thriller show you've been looking for. Blackbird. Someone else has mentioned that. I'll write it on the list. Excuse me. All right. When it comes to my TV shows, I'm very picky. So if you say it's good, I'll check into it. Thanks for the recommendation. New Jersey guy says, congrats on your engagement. I'm going to propose to my girlfriend in 2 weeks. Any advice? Yeah, for me, it was terrifying. You know, once I was done with it, I felt so relieved. I was like, okay, I did my part. All I have to do now is show up at the wedding and say I do. But the proposal was the most frustrating aspect, because when you have schedules, right? My girlfriend or my fiance, she's a teacher. So it's hard to get certain days scheduled off. And so I scheduled a really cool Airbnb up north, and it was really neat. It was like in an old grain bin, but they redid it so it looks very modern and nice and elegant. And it's they had like a creek behind it and a fireplace, and they had a hot tub, and it was really nice. And it was out in the middle of the woods, right? So, I said, either I'm taking you out here to bury you in a shallow ditch, or I will ask you to marry me. And, of course, the later of the two happened, but there's always time. So what I did for mine was, my girlfriend's a huge Harry Potter fan, like loves it beyond. My girlfriend has probably seen the first Harry Potter film 150 times. So what I did the day of is I surprised her, and I got us a couple really nice premium Harry Potter scarves. I got her a Hufflepuff scarf, and I got myself a Slytherin scarf, because I think, obviously speaking, I'd probably be in House Slytherin. And I said, okay, we're going to go off to Hogwarts. And then we went to the Airbnb. It was a few hours away. And I put her ring in a very nice golden snitch ring box. And then, I tricked her into going down by the creek, and, I popped the question there. So my advice to you is, don't try too hard. Simple is always better, but add a little bit of personal charm to it. You don't got to go crazy. You don't got to spend a whole bunch of money, but simple is always better. That is my advice to you. So good luck. The next one comes from Michael Witherspoon, who says, congrats on your engagement, John. Glad you're back. Much love. Well, thanks, man. And thanks for being a beautiful member for 23 months. And by the way, if you guys are members right now in the normal chat, feel free to chime in. I got one here from Michael Flores, who says, hey, John, can you say rubber baby Oh, shit, I guess I can't say. Hey, John, can you say rubber baby buggy bumpers in Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice? Rubber baby bumpers. I can't even do it once. Rubber baby. I cannot do this. I got to get this, though. Rubber baby buggy bumpers. There you go. I did it. I love me some Last Action Hero. Way ahead of its time. See, you didn't know I was going to do that, did you? Danny. All right, let's go to the next one before I continue with the shitty impressions. Night King 01 says, good luck finding Driver anywhere on streaming. The only place I found it is on Amazon on DVD. Though, if you want a 4K version, I have a PS4 and 5. Get the UK 4K off. There's too many fucking numbers! I'll just buy it off Amazon, or I'll bootleg it, or rip it off the fucking internet. I'll watch it somehow, some way, okay? Or you can send me your DVD copy. Let's do that. I'm sorry, you had too many numbers. You're like, PS4 or PS5, the UK 4K version. Like, I can't say all that. Blah, 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 blah. All right. But thank you, Night King 01. Speaking of movies that are hard to find anywhere on streaming services, when's the last time any of you tried to watch Sling Blade starring Billy Bob Thornton? Taters. So anyway, I was looking for a really good dramatic movie, and also I was in the movie to watch. Okay, hear me out for a second. How do I say this in 2023 without getting canceled? I was in the mood to watch a movie with a character who had a handicap, mentally speaking, because I love me some Forrest Gump. So I was in the mood to watch another movie with something similar, but maybe a little bit darker. And I was leaning towards Sling Blade because my fiance has never seen that. And I was like, do you want to watch a dark, gritty movie with some odd underlining dark humor in it? And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Sling Blade's not funny, John. Yes, it is. There's a lot of humor to be had in Sling Blade if you look in all the right places. And I do look in those right places. But you cannot find that movie on any streaming service anywhere. You can't watch it. So then I went to my local physical media store and I looked for an hour. Could not find it on DVD. And I was looking in the crusty old DVD section covered in dust. I was looking everywhere. I was looking behind 87,000 copies of Triple X to find this shit. Did not exist. So, and I know the only copies you can buy on eBay, like the Blu-ray copies, are like $40. It's crazy. So that's the next movie I'm going to try to find. out in the wild is a physical copy of Sling Blade on Blu-ray. That's the task I've given myself. It gives me a reason to live, I guess you could say. All right. The next one comes from, someone said Rain Man. Yeah, Rain Man. I mean, that's a good one, too. Michael Flores says, I love that movie too, John. Last Action Hero is one of the best Arnold movies, hands down. Absolutely. It's good stuff, man. I think people will appreciate it more now than if more so than if they watched it back in 1993. You have Sling Blade on Blu-ray? You want to make a trade? You want to send me Sling Blade on Blu-ray and I'll trade you something else back here? Huh? I can send you a Flick Pick sticker with it? All right. The next one comes from Claudia Roguejean, who says, maybe because I didn't grow up with Hook, and from my experiences, most everyone who didn't grow up with it has a similar opinion. No, I can understand not growing up with Hook and not loving it. But I think that's also something to be said. I grew up with 90s movies, and there's just some kind of weird magic charm that those have that modern day movies lack, and I don't feel like they can ever recreate. And the same thing goes with 80s movies. You just couldn't recreate that today. Like, everything would be so perfected. You wouldn't have the messiness that gives it that character, so... Ross Bristow says, Hook looks great on 4K. No, I watched Hook on 4K. I have no complaints with Hook on 4K. It is a great looking movie. Bro Creative says, hey man, congrats on the engagement. Been following you since high school. I'm 26 now. You're a grown fucking man. We have grown up together in a weird way. Isn't that weird to say? Also, you go on to say, and your videos have always put a smile on my face and a pump in my biceps. Stay sexy, my brother. Well, thanks for that, man. Thank you for that. It was beautiful. I'll tell you what, I mentioned this on the last live show. I started working out again. And by the way, thanks to 291 of you glorious people for wasting away your Saturday night with me here on the internet. But hey, what else are we going to do? Yeah, what else do you have to do? This is easier than socially interacting or leaving your house. So thank you for hanging out. But I started working out again, and I'm telling you, when I work out, I still get the pump. I still get the pump, and I missed it. And now I don't want to get as big as I once was, because that was just utterly disgusting. But I would like to gain another 8-10 pounds of muscle again. So maybe that's my goal by next fall. That's a lot to say. The thing is, it is kind of weird. I'm 36 years old. And working out 5, 6, 7 years ago was so much easier than it is now. I know what you're thinking. No, John, you're just crazy. No, it physically was easier. It hurts sometimes to work out now. And my new workout method is I literally put a timer on my watch. I go into the gym. I give myself 30 minutes. And keep in mind, I don't stop for those 30 minutes. I don't stop. I just keep going. But 30 minutes is my breaking point. And I remember a time when I used to go into the gym and I would be there for 2 hours. I would literally be there for 2 hours. And I think to myself, how did I do that? Who was I? Anyway, you started talking about biceps. I'm watching this hole while showering. And then you put while. You corrected your... But I liked watching the hole while you're showering. Well, scrub up, man. We're talking about movies and you're washing your balls. It's a good time to be alive. All right, let's go to the next one. William Maine, and by the way, Bro Creative, thank you for the question, man. Very generous of you. William Maine says, Silver Bullet werewolf movie with Corey Haim, Gary Busey as an alcoholic uncle. What's not to love? Congrats on the engagement. Big love from Scott, and you got cut off there. But anyway, thank you for the question, man, and thank you for that. I've never seen Silver Bullet with Gary fucking Busey. Hey, what are you, a werewolf or something? I'm going to shoot ya. That sounded like Elvis, but that's my Gary Busey impression. Hey, you dog, give me two. 1901. No, we got another question here. Let's get. William says, number one thing you change about Rocket League. You know what I don't like about Rocket League? I don't like the lack of gravity, and I get that they put a lack of gravity in there so you can do more tricks doing rocket shit. But I find that the ball takes too long to bounce and move. It almost feels like slow motion, and it feels too slow for me. That's one thing I hate. Another thing I hate is when I get into a match with another player and they're the type of player who like to play defense and only guard their goal. That is so boring to me. I won't play. I'll literally just park my car right in the middle of the thing until they leave to come hit the ball. I will not do that. I don't play that way. So yeah, the few things I hate about Rocket League. There's just some people that are just too damn good at the game. Like, I'm pretty good, but there are people that just fly around in the air the whole time and knock the ball right in the net, and they do the same thing over and over again. I just think to myself, why do you play this? You just do the same thing over and over again. Your technique is the exact same movement. So those are a few things I hate. And then I break my controller, and then I buy another one. James Nichols says, John, have you ever seen The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson? Yes, I have seen The Master. Underrated movie starring Joaquin Phoenix and Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of my favorites. I've seen it once. I thought it was okay. If you don't know what it's about the creation of Scientology, about how aliens come out of volcanoes, and that's their version of religion that was created in the 1950s, and then Tom Cruise believes in it, and so does half of Hollywood, because they're a cult-like society and they worship baby blood and sacrifice fetuses to stay alive forever. But anyway, yeah, it's a weird movie. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's weird, and I think if you watch that movie, it begs the question, how can you believe this shit? Anyway, let's go to the next question before Tom Cruise finds out. The next one comes from Jake Blair, who says, John, how glorious was it growing up in the 90s and early 2000s? Think about how lucky you were all the time. All the movies, PlayStation, N64, Game Boy. Yeah, man, I don't think I could be the dude I am today if I grew up from like the 2000s to now. There's no way. There's just no way. You know, and I think the 90s was the best of everything that society had to offer throughout multiple decades, right? Technology was at a point where you could have all the luxuries of life. You had everything you needed. You had TVs, you had movie theaters, you had video games. The graphics on video games in the 90s, especially the mid-90s, were like mind-blowing, right? You had everything that you needed. You had bicycles, but what you didn't have too much of in the 90s, where you were on the cusp of it, is technology wasn't replacing social activities, right? To hang out with your friends, you still got on your bicycle, rode down to their house, went inside, you ate some pizza, and you guys played video games around a little 19-inch TV, which to you at the time looked like a massive big screen, and you laid there on their basement floor eating like goldfish crackers, pizza, and just having the time of your life. And now it's just like, hey man, you want to hang out? Okay, how do we hang out? You get online and play Call of Duty together. You know, it's just like, that's not the same. It's not. So yeah, you know, I'm happy I grew up in the 90s, and if I ever have kids, I think I'm going to try to like trick them into telling them that technology is 25 years behind where it really, what I'm going to do is, have you seen the movie The Village, directed by M. Night Shyamalan? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a civilization out in the woods, but it's not going to be set back in the 1800s or some crazy shit. No. It's going to be set in 1995, okay? We have technology, but it's limited, right? You can have fun. You can play video games, but we don't have cell phones or smartphones or internet. No. We have none of these things. So that's my goal in life. I'm going to create a cult, and I'm going to tell everyone it's 1995, and then we're going to live in the woods. So that's where I'm going with that. And I'll dedicate my life to such things. How did I get there? I don't know. I don't even remember what the question was now. But yeah, the 90s was great. Claudia Rogajan says, I watched A Better Tomorrow last night, John Woo's movie that made him big. Less over the top than I expected, with a good story about two brothers. I've never seen it. There's a lot of early John Woo movies I've never seen. I didn't get into John Woo movies until the mid-90s with like Face Off or Broken Arrow. So yeah, there's like Hard Boiled. I need to go back and revisit at some point. Movies for Life says, if you like dark comedy, I highly recommend The Bear on Hulu. One of the best shows out there. Also, did you get the Avatar movies on 4K? I have not bought the Avatar movies on 4K. That I don't think I have. I don't think I bought those on 4K. And if those go down to like $8 on a Black Friday sale, I might. But the thing is, with the first Avatar movie, I've seen it so many times on Blu-ray. And the fact that they're both on Disney Plus to watch, or at least they were last time I checked, I just don't think I need them on 4K at this point. Like, I don't think I'll go out of my way to pop in the physical copy of either movie just because I feel like I'm kind of burnt out on them. Am I looking forward to Avatar 3? Yeah, but I think like something radical better happen because I think the shtick is kind of already getting old and they have 3 more movies planned, so that's kind of scary. But yeah, I don't know. I'd probably buy them on like Black Friday for next to nothing. And I'll check out The Bear. I have no clue what that is, but it sounds intriguing. Kyle says, John, how amazing do you think the new Star Wars trilogy would be if they let Denis Villeneuve direct all 3 of them? Denis Villeneuve, I will always mispronounce his name on purpose, but that's okay. Well, I would say as long as he doesn't try to do what he does with Dune, and he actually understands what Star Wars is, and he understands characters. He takes his time with movies. I just hope he doesn't try to bring this art house, slow burn style to a Star Wars movie, because that's not what I want to see. But if they said he's directing a new Star Wars movie, that would instantly get me excited. It would give me hope, and it would give me a new hope, I guess some would say, because that's what we need with Star Wars when it comes to Disney. Also, you know, whenever a studio says a competent, capable director is going to direct the new movie, and it's a director who's picky with what they direct, it gives me a lot of faith, right? So it's not like Brett Ratner's directing the new movie. It's like, oh shit, he's going to do whatever the studio execs tell him to do. But yeah, that would be cool, you know, and I am looking forward to the new Dune movie, though I will not pretend like I like the first one as much as some people do. I am looking forward to the new one. Chris Salamu says, any plans for tomorrow? Tomorrow I might hit up the gym. I'm going to watch Hook. We're going to have a movie night. And really, that's about it, man. Maybe I'll order some pizza, something like that. Some pizza. A large cheese pizza. But that's pretty much it. The next one comes from Jason. Hey, John. It's Jason. Been about a year since I wrote you, but have always watched. Well, thanks for that, man. Are you going to Stuckman's movie thing in Ohio? I'm from Ohio and bought tickets. Thought it would be cool to get to meet you. I don't know. I didn't even know when or where it was, man. I didn't. Did you buy the tickets with the GoFundMe thing? Is that how you got tickets? I have not. I didn't know that was happening anytime soon. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't have any plans. But I am curious to check it out. I really am genuinely curious to see it. Okay, the next one comes from... And by the way, if you guys have questions in the normal chat, ask away. Just ask away on the questions in the normal chat, and I will get to those. It's not that I don't want to answer those questions. I go to the super chats first, and then I try to get questions in between, but... let's talk about buttered sausage. Let's not. You know, my least favorite breakfast meat is sausage. I'm much more of a bacon guy. And just talking about bacon right now makes me want to eat it. That sounds so good. Nothing like pig lard. I love it. All right. Get those juicy questions in. I'm waiting. New Beginning says, hi, John. Well, hi. How are you? Actually, hey, I got something I can show you real quick. Hang on. This was sent to me. Now, keep in mind, I hate 90% of these movies. Oddly enough, I like Resident Evil Apocalypse the most. But I got Resident Evil, the Steelbook franchise on Steelbook 4K. It's in this box. It's a cool box. I think it's really neat. I don't really like the movies that much, but here's this. And you know the unfortunate thing is, listen to this. They're all rattling around in the cases. You can hear every single one of these discs. They popped loose and they're just rattling about. But anyway, maybe I'll go back and rewatch a few of these on Halloween at some point. But oddly enough, I like Apocalypse the most. Renzo says, "Hey John, what TV and sound system do you watch movies on? Do you enable motion interpolation? Why can I not say interpolation? Why can I not say that word? Interpolation. No, I do not. I don't put any motion on. I don't want any artificial frames interjected into the film. I don't care about smooth motion. And smooth motion was something that they made for LCD TVs because of their shortcomings in technology to make the motion look more smooth rather than choppy and blurry because they just couldn't keep up with fast moving images. So they told you it was a good thing. Now people watch it when they watch like sports. But when it comes to cinema, that's no. But what I watch movies on is I have I have a 4K projector in my bedroom, and it's a Nebula 4K projector, and that's what I watch movies on in my bedroom. And the speaker is really good. It's built in. It sounds good. It's bassy. The picture quality is pretty good. No complaints. But in my theater room, we have an 83-inch LG OLED TV, and then I have a Nakamichi. Is it Nakamichi? I don't. What is the brand? What is the brand I have? I can never remember. Yeah, Nakamichi surround sound system. The one I have is the, I have the Nakamichi Shockwave, not Wave, Shockwave, 9.2, 1300 watt soundbar system. It's got 2 huge subwoofers. And it's a pretty good sound system, but if you want my honest personal opinion, I think if you get one of the Vizio M-series soundbar systems that have like Atmos built into it, I would almost go so far as to say those sound better in my and they're probably 1/3 the cost. So that would be my recommendation. I actually think Vizio make really good surround soundbar systems. But yeah, that's what I'm watching movies on most of the time. And my 4K player is a Panasonic, I forget the model number. It does the job. The next one comes from Michael Flores, who says, "Hey, John, if you don't want the Resident Evil box, I'll take it off, wrap it for me for Christmas." I'm not opposed to trading it for something, but or maybe I can do a giveaway. Maybe I'll do some giveaways on the next live show. So yeah, maybe I'll put this out there. If you guys watch the live shows, definitely maybe watch the next one because I might have some giveaways. And even if I don't give you a physical copy of something, I have a lot of digital codes for brand new movies that I have sitting back there that I can give away. I can just send you a DM on Twitter or something. Okay, the next one comes from Jason, who says, "Hey, John, it's Jason. Been about a year." I already answered this. Night King 01 says, "Hard Boiled is on Prime Video in the original dub." Well, that's good to know, man. Thanks. Jason Nilsson says, "Hey, John, if you take out Fridge Nuke Scene and Swinging Monkeys from Crystal Skull, it's better than Dial of Destiny. Thanks and happy holidays." Both movies are pretty bad, to be honest with you. They're both pretty bad Indiana Jones movies. Do I think there's a little more vitality in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? At least it was directed by Steven Spielberg. Maybe. But it's just so fucking bad. And then you have the new one, Dial of Destiny, and it's just soulless. It's just like a messy, soulless movie that doesn't feel like it's well crafted or elevates the franchise or the character, and it feels... It's an okay mediocre send-off for the character of Indiana Jones, but man, the direction that they took that movie it's baffling to me. It's really a good example of everything that Hollywood does wrong with modern day franchises. It really is. Like the part where he goes back in time and they're like flying around on a plane or whatever the fuck it was, like a hot air balloon or whatever it was, and they're looking down there at the ancient battle. I'm just like, this is like fan fiction that you would read on Reddit. I didn't hate seeing that, but the fact that it all led up to that was really disappointing. All right, the next one comes from Jason says, so I tried to remove a big scar on my shoulder, John. I had it for 30 years, rubbed it hard and wiped it for 2 minutes. It turned red and scabbed over for a week, then healed and looks like it's almost gone now. Very hard to see. Look before and after pictures. What are you talking about, Jason? Listen, I love your internal thoughts. I love hearing these things from you. But the fact that you shared that with me and everyone else watching right now is really interesting to me. That's a really fascinating tidbit about you, Jason. You could also probably get laser surgery on a scar. You know, it might heal it up nice and look good, but I'm glad your scar went away, man. You know, speaking of scars, I almost had one across my face from a couple months ago when a attic ladder smashed my face in, and I was pretty pissed about that. I didn't want to look like Tyrion Lannister or something. But it healed up pretty nice, so I'm very fortunate about that. Aaron Nursewick says, what are your thoughts on Eli Roth's Thanksgiving? I haven't watched it. I think watching the Grindhouse trailer is sufficient enough. I don't need to watch a movie about a Thanksgiving killer. I just don't care. It just looks like a disposable movie to me. Those are my thoughts. I'll probably never watch it. Will H says, John, I'm going to feed you to my tarantula. The salt melts the bodies and turns the bodies into mummies. Buzz's girlfriend, woof. Oh, God. I want to go watch Home Alone now. I just want to go watch Home Alone and eat frozen pizza. All right. I'm eating pizza and watching dirty movies. You better come out and stop me. All right, the next one comes from Claudio Rogajon. Dial of Destiny has no reason to exist. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull literally ended the franchise with him getting married to Marion. Leave it at that. No, I agree. Yeah, Dial of Destiny really didn't advance the character anymore. It just showed a sad, bitter old man. And it's like, okay, all right, yeah, okay. This is like, I feel like I'm watching Clint Eastwood, not Indiana Jones. I feel like I was watching Gran Torino. Like, just, it had everything except for Indiana Jones sitting on his front porch just telling kids to get off his lawn. Yeah, short round, get off my lawn. If you don't get off my lawn, you get the whip again. All right, the next one comes from InHomes25. Welcome back, John. Life's not the same without a week of Flick's thoughts on movies and life. Congrats on the engagement as well, dude. Well, thanks for that. Flick's thoughts on movies and life. Well, thanks for that. That's what this is. Maybe I should just rename it to that. Flick's thoughts on movies and life. Or maybe I'll make that the podcast version. All right, I'm going to answer a few more questions, and then I'm going to wrap up this live show because I'm getting tired, I'm getting hungry, and most importantly, this sweater is getting itchy. Say goodnight, Kevin. Good night, Kevin. The third floor. All right. Jason says, yeah, I got tickets on the GoFundMe. I bought the $250 ones and got two, one for me and another for my brother. Figured, whatever. That's cool, man. Yeah, $250. That's some pricey tickets, man, but have a good time. I have no clue when that is. Did he announce when the screening of that was? I don't think he knows when the movie's coming out yet. I spoke to him maybe a month or two ago, and he mentioned maybe next year, or the first quarter of next year sometime, so we'll see. Campia is a shield, and that's a problem. I don't really watch John Campia anymore. I have no clue. And for our next main topic, well, first let me preface this. I don't actually know anything about what I'm about to say, but here's what I'm thinking. All right, the next one comes from, hope you have a great Christmas, John. Well, I hope you have a great Christmas too, and don't worry, I'll see you before Christmas. I'll see you at least, let's see, how many weeks do we have before Christmas? Da-da-da-dum, boom, boom. We got one, two. We got at least 2 live shows before Christmas, and we'll probably do a very festive Christmas live show. So, yeah, get the Christmas cookies and the eggnog ready because this fat man's coming down your chimney while you're sleeping. Don't call the cops. I just want to eat your shit. All right, the next one comes from. I'll answer one more question. Let's see. Are you still lifting? Yeah, I just started going to Planet Fitness again. I just started lifting, but I'm drinking my protein shakes, getting back into the routine, and I will say I did miss it. It really, I think wintertime is the best time to get into it because during the rest of the year, I've got addicted to doing yard work. I know it's something I never thought I would say. When I was a kid, I hated going outside to rake leaves or mow the grass. I hated it. Now I find it highly therapeutic. But with the winter season upon us, well, I need something to do that's somewhat physical. I can't ride my lawnmower in the winter, even though I would like to. I go to the gym now. So it's sort of my one social outlet in life that I go to. So, all right. I think I'm going to wrap up the live show here, guys. But I do want to say thank you guys for all the questions. Thanks for hanging out and watching. We got one here from Claudia Rojan. Have you tried Jocko Willink's energy drink? Apparently, it's pretty good. It's called Jocko Go, part of his Jocko Fuel line. I have not tried that. I drink the Zoas. I think they're very smooth and they don't taste like artificial battery acid mixed with horse piss. So, but I'll check into that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the questions. I'll see you guys on the next live show. Typically, I'm trying to do these on Sundays, but I had some time tonight on Saturday. So as always, guys, stay safe. Go watch a movie, eat some popcorn, and have a good night. Bye-bye.